Men normally have one of 7 different personality types. You have your alpha, you have your beta, you have your gamma, omega, you have, not to mention the delta, you have your zeta, and you have your sigma. Now, when I speak of delta males, I'm talking about the type of male that is pretty much self-destructive. The one that always preaching about how they are a victim, how the world always did them wrong, how they are, their circumstances created who they are. Basically, they a bunch of whining pussies. But delta males are similar to, let's say, people that vote for Trump. For instance, not all people that vote for Trump are racist, but all racists vote for Trump. As far as delta males are concerned, not all deltas men are bitches, but all bitch-ass men are deltas. So some of the famous deltas that you will find also have a tendency to be alphas. Everybody think they alphas, they fucking not. Let's get that shit straight first. Everybody is not an alpha fucking male. Matter of fact, we've only, during my lifetime in the past 60 years, we've only had 2 alpha presidents. That was Kennedy and, believe it or not, Trump. All the rest of them are gammas. A more evolved form of an alpha, but they pretty much, all your politicians are gonna be gammas. They're trying to please every fucking body, and they're gonna sell out every fucking body just in order to get a fucking vote. So that's why I don't really like to fuck with politics. But back to the delta male situation. You have strong delta males. I think Umar Johnson considers himself as a alpha male. You could be loud, you could be boisterous, and you can have some leadership qualities. All of those are found in alphas. Deltas, on the other hand, can evolve from being to become alphas, or they can fall from being an alpha back down to a delta. But one thing for sure, alpha delta males only lead deltas. Umar Johnson pretty much only gonna lead weak men because they have to be victimized. And this is no slight to Dr. Johnson. I may not sharing his particular views and everything, but you have to admit, if a man whines and cries about his circumstances, he doesn't look at the things that he needs to do in order to make things better, and then he turns around and not only whines and complains about it, but he then turns around and then blames somebody else for some shit that he should have been able to control. He'll use words like genocide when you're talking about 15 people per year. Anything in order to stir up the weak-minded. And so when we look at delta males, they are the only male group or male personality type that is believed to have no purpose on this fucking planet. They're never gonna grow. They're never gonna become anything. They'll work a job. You know, they're not gonna make good husbands because they whine too much. Wife make more money than him, that's another reason for them to bitch. So when I look at the situation with delta males, I look at that these are the men that we don't need. And even though I pointed out Dr. Johnson with some of the stuff that he does, or some of the ways that he lead, this does not negate the fact that you got a whole shitting list of white males that done came up with this white victimology, this theory of the white replacement theory. All them goofy motherfuckers delta. All the motherfuckers that stormed the Capitol, all those are deltas. All those bunch of goofy motherfuckers that's weak, that's looking for some reason for their circumstance. And if they ain't got bullshit circumstances, they're gonna keep pushing it. They don't serve no place, and they damn sure don't serve no place in Aries. There are a lot of kings that were actually put in power and were actually delta men. You have to understand, when kings get in power, it's not necessarily from conquest. They maintain power from denying other people conquest and then going out and conquering other countries. But that's a birthright. And they believe that that's a divine birthright. And you have several people. Let's look at Nero, for example. Nero, yeah, he was pathetic. He blamed everybody for everything that went on, burnt down third of Rome, blamed it on somebody else, blamed it on the Christians. But he had some delusions of grandeur about himself. So Nero would be probably one of the primary ones that I would say is a delta man, griping. Caligula. You find it a lot with the Romans. Now the reason why I'm taking on to the Roman situation, opposed to going some of the people that were on the English throne, was that Romans had certain rules. Romans also had what you call the Zeta male. Now, the Zeta male is supposed to be his own person, similar to a Sigma male, the lone wolf type situation. But Zetas are not necessarily lone wolves. Zetas just don't conform as easily as other male personality types. That's why some people try to put them around the alpha role. Most alphas don't conform, but some alphas do have to conform because they need to lead. Zetas, they have a different concept about quid pro quo or laissez-faire, meaning that their sexual situations are different than the other ones. They're not going to be strictly heterosexual. This is where you're going to find the bisexuals, your transsexuals, and your homosexual men. They especially the ones that are proud and stand on their sexuality. They know it went against part of the norm, and now we're trying to make it whereas that it is normal. We've normalized it. So Zetas still are Zetas because you still got people in the closet, but the Zetas come out. If a Zeta want to wear a dress, a Zeta gonna want to wear a dress. Now, can a Zeta be in a leadership role for a heterosexual man? Fuck no. That's just not happening. Ain't nobody follow no man in no fucking dress. Now, a kilt, as we were speaking of earlier, is a little bit different. You follow a rugby player in the fucking way you want. Y'all don't kick some ass. But the minute he put some flowers in that shit, it's time to go. It's time to go. So Zetas, no. But another thing I want to point out about the Romans, a lot of people will say that you had great leaders in Rome and in Greece, such as Alexander. Alexander's sexuality was questioned. So you have to see whether or not Alexander, was he a Zeta or was he an Alpha? Is there such thing as an Alpha Zeta? Yes, but all that shit died out with the Romans and Greeks. And the reason being is this: you could be involved in homosexuality as a Roman, long as you was doing the fucking. You can't take no dick. You can get a dick, but you can't take no dick. And you can't fuck another senator. You could fuck slaves, people that wasn't born of Roman citizenship, and you could fuck entertainers. But they was considered slaves and entertainers and non-citizens. He couldn't fuck a regular citizen. So basically, he could never get fucked. And so when you look at, as far as leadership, for as people that Alexander probably would be one of the greatest leaders that probably had an alpha zeta type situation. And another thing, alphas can be alpha zeta, alpha delta, or alpha sigma. Actually, these are actual terms. These are not ones that I came up with. These came about from the study of animal packs. And once they seen, like with prides, and once they seen, like with wolf packs, they start identifying one being in more control than the other. And as a result of them looking at one being in control more than the other, they start trying to apply that to the male hierarchy within humans. And so they started coming up with the alpha, which was the leader, which was the beta, which was the support. And then we started developing other male personality types, such as the omega, which is a highly intelligent male personality type. And these where you get all your inventors from. And they are pretty much, they're not loners, but they will participate with you to get you out the way. Like, for instance, the wife said, let's go over here and go see the family. All right, we go see the family, but I got some shit I got to do, so I go see the family, but I'm bringing my iPad. That's the kind of guy that the omega would be. Then you would have, again, like I explained to you with the gamma is the person that's going to primarily be your politician. You already know what the delta male is going to be. And so and then you also know what the zeta male, like I said, with his own sexuality. And the sigma male is probably the most fascinating of all. He is the true lone wolf. One of the things that we have to look at with male personality types is conformation, meaning that we conform to the way that everybody else wants us to be, or conform to the way that everybody wants us to think. We're scared to have independent thought. Sigmas are not like that. Sigma don't give a fuck what you think. Sigma gonna make a determination as to what he think is right and wrong. He gonna stand on that shit, plain and simple. He don't care who's around, and he's not looking to lead anybody. That's the one downward aspect of a Sigma, because if a Sigma took on a leadership role, then he would be probably the best leader that you could find, because he's single-minded, single-focused, and methodical thinker. So what you end up with is you have alphas Now, alphas that also have that personality, that's why I say you have your alpha sigma personality. These will be your best leaders. Your standard alpha must conform. He has to conform in order to lead. Alpha sigma is a nonconformist. He makes changes in the world. So if you don't make the changes in the world that you should make in the world, then what ends up happening is that you just simply doing standard with the status quo, so to speak. Quid pro quo. No. What we have going on in America and what people fail to realize is this. It only takes 3.5% of a population to change to change political goals, political movements, anything like that. They make radical change. Only 3.5% of the population. Now, contrary to popular belief, gays only represent about 5 to 6% of this population. But they work together. And as a result of working together, you know, you got a few people that suck dick that don't want nobody to want to know that they suck dick. So they working in the background to help things out. But I don't see that as being something that we will be able to tolerate. I think that the Biden administration had a guy, and I'm fucking up on the pronouns, but so we have to stick with the guy right now. Had a guy that was a transsexual and cross-dresser that was handling our nuclear waste. Okay, I'm not saying he couldn't fucking handle nuclear waste. I don't know what the fuck he that shit. He's some kind of toxic anyway. But the point is that he would do things like do spread outs, do layouts. I mean, really doing some sexually inappropriate shit that I would think for a member of his administration. So the motherfucker finally stole a suitcase full of women's clothes, and they still didn't fire his ass. And then he stole another suitcase full of clothes, and they fired his ass. Now, my point is that that shows, even as liberal as the Biden administration is concerned, there are limitations that we will go to for certain behavior types, certain pushing the envelopes. Okay, so they cut it off with stealing, but they didn't cut it off with you laying out, doing sexually provocative shit while you part of a governmental administration. Okay, fine. But follow the motherfucker that's wearing a dress up there going, hoorah, hoorah. Hell fucking no. Men not gonna do that. They just not gonna do that. There's 5,000 mammal species in the world. Out of those 5,000, there are about 5 that are classified as matriarchal. You have the, and I always get their name wrong, but Numo chimpanzee. You have the killer whale. And in those particular cases, just with those particular two, in those particular cases, they use the males inside, the mother uses her male offspring to help them maintain control. So they still need to have the necessity for the male to control it. Some people say that the lions would be a matriarchal society, but that's pure bullshit. Yes, she does handle 80% of the hunting, but she knows that the minute another male comes in, he's going to kill all her kids. She depends on that man to protect her and to protect her bloodline and to protect his bloodline, to fight to the death for that. So she's a long way from matriarchal. She needs the male protection now. The hyenas don't even respect the motherfuckers. And we finna get to them in just a minute. So then you had a meerkat. The meerkat is naturally larger than the male meerkat. But this particular matriarchal situation, the male meerkat always challenges her. She wins 90% of the time. Sometimes she loses, but majority of the time she's gonna win because she's just bigger than this guy. But that's basically it until you get to the hyena. Now the hyena is the true matriarchal society. Cackling, making a bunch of goddamn fucking noise. Don't nobody like this motherfucker. It's a fucking scavenger and an opportunist. It is naturally bigger than the male. And what it also does, it has what we call a prosciutto or a false penis, and has been known to mount other females. Now, this is the hyena. Her son, she kick out. So he can't stay inside. His bloodline don't mean shit. She kick him out. And he's adopted by another hyena clan. And the female breeds with him. So they breed with the lowest form of man that they can fucking find. to have another female child to run this shit until they run across a fucking line that snaps their fucking neck, and then they got to start all over again. But the hyena situation is what we have here. We have what we call the hyena effect, where men are supposed to be treated less than women, especially in the black community. Think about it. When you had Black Lives Matter had 2 gay women and a feminist. So that means they don't suck dick, they don't fuck dick, and they don't give no respect to your dick. You say, well, how you say that, Greg? Well, when they originally on their website, they had up there, they talked about the mother, the grandparent, and they talked about the partner. Notice that father does not come up in this goddamn equation. So they don't even respect your dick. But they can convince you to put your dick in the dirt and then profit off of it. So what you have is, first of all, let me get this shit straight for y'all. Ain't no fucking such thing as no alpha female. You have a fucking hyena, and you have the hyena effect, and you have delta males, and you have gammas. Gammas should know better. They the most evolved form of an alpha male. They should know better. But when you put this motherfucker in politics, you gotta have partnerships. Raphael Warnock is a perfect example of that. If you are a Baptist minister, you didn't write your doctrine. You got fucking rules. You either follow the rules or you don't follow the rules. Thing is, you really don't have an option in not following the fucking rules. So when you decide that you're gonna say, I believe in a woman's choice, you know, goddamn well, you just went against everything that's in the doctrine. So you should either be a politician or you should be a minister. You cannot be both. So no, so long as you have the hyena effect that's going on, and you have a couple of white men out there that ain't fucking going. See, what's going to happen is this, to prevent what you're saying is going to happen, is that the white male is going to realize something. Because a lot of times we say shit about the white man and all this and how he this and how he that. Yeah, that shit true. But one thing you can't say about this motherfucker, he ain't a coward. He will kick anybody's ass and lose his life in order to do it. The black man is not either. They need the team to fuck up. And we need to start redesigning infrastructure, a thing that men do. You can run lead, take over, and that's what Aries is saying. You don't have to give this up. You got to follow nobody in no fucking skirt. And believe me, I don't give a shit if you do wear a skirt. I don't care about men sucking dick. You know, I'm going to put it like this. A man should be concerned about his bloodline and his house. One day I heard my grandsons, when we was driving down the street, yelling faggot this and faggot that. And that's another thing, motherfuckers. I'm not about to say the F word. I'm not finna say the N word and all that. Ain't no such fucking thing. Somebody call you a nigga, they called you a nigga. They didn't call you an N word. Somebody call you a faggot, they call you a faggot. They didn't call you the F word. They don't call you the R word. They call you fucking retarded. Pete, that's the other thing. All this soft approach, pretending like a motherfucker didn't say something. Fuck that. You hear what I say, I said it. So they were saying faggot. They weren't saying the F word. Oh, you F word this, over that. So I told them to stop. And I explained to them that the word was derogatory. I explained to them that people of different sexual orientation have every right to live the life that they want, every right to be the person that they want, and we should support that. Now, after I got through explaining it to them, I also explained to them two little motherfuckers, you do understand, y'all can't be gay. So little Chris decided he wanted to get smart about it and said, well, what if we have a gay son? I said, we're going to love him. We're going to protect him. And we will fuck up anybody who tries to fuck up him. But understand, you just fucked up my bloodline and make me another one. Now, all I'm saying is that man's immortality lives through his bloodline. That's why people did not want to, at one time, have girls to run countries. Like, trust me, if Henry VIII had had a boy, and that's all he wanted, he didn't want any girls, he wanted boys, to run the country. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how you stay immortal. We all are going to die. It's about the legacies we build that live forever. And I want my legacy, I want my name to go on. My name cannot go on if one of my grandkids or great-grandkids decide they want to suck dick. It doesn't work that way. If it went back to Alexander the Great, let's say it goes back to Alexander the Great, understand Alexander the Great was a conqueror. He was a fighter. He was a warrior. And you have to also understand at this point, kings died right alongside their generals. They didn't sit back in offices or sit back behind the lines and make all the rules, regulations, and everything. They went. Hannibal was the first one to be on that charging line. Same thing with Caesar. So if we did go back to Alexander the Great, understand the rule. Alexander could fuck a boy, but he couldn't get fucked. If Alexander was taking dick up the ass, nobody would follow him. He knew his men wouldn't do it. Women ain't fighting wars. Now, something else very important that just came. There was a regiment in Greece that was part of the Spartans. And that particular regiment consisted of gay warriors. It was believed that if you fought your heart out to protect somebody you love in battle, then you would be more of a vicious warrior. So if you and your woman went into battle, or you and your man went into battle, so to speak, in this particular case, you and your man, they were believed to be some of the most outstanding warriors that there were. So I'm not saying that gay people can't make great fucking warriors, but you have to understand, they weren't leaders. They were part of the regiment. They were not leading the regiment. Now you probably had somebody that led that particular group of them, but he wasn't going to lead the overall situation. I don't think we'll ever get to the point where we may not even have the opportunity, to be perfectly honest with you, because Putin is not gay. Putin's a man's man. So is the leader of China and other countries that could be a threat to us. Now we start going around over here and everybody wearing dresses and all that kind of bullshit. Trust me, somebody's going to want to come over and kick our ass because we're going to take a passive approach. Right now, we got women redefining failure. Oh, you really didn't fail. Everybody deserves a fucking trophy. No, the fuck you don't. If you fail, you fail. You need to get better at it. There's nothing wrong with men the way they are. I don't think men are falling apart right now. I think what it is that we got a lot of guys that really like to stay in power and they really like their vote. So they're afraid of everybody. They're afraid to say things that they really mean and things of that nature. I don't think anybody has the right to say anything derogatory about anybody else, but I also think that people have the right to say that this is my opinion. Now, if I was gay and that was my opinion of the person that I wanted to be, then shit, that's who I fucking want to be. I ain't knocking that. I'm saying I don't want to be, so why am I villainized for that? Human beings are born, and it's always been my firm belief, despite what some people say, that human beings have no natural instincts. Some people say that, they explore the world with their mouth, the suckling aspect. They have no concept whether or not that solves their hunger. That's just something that they do. So with human beings having no natural instincts, then everything is a learned behavior. All male personality types are built upon their personal experiences. I had a record label called Presidential Records, and one of the deceased artists on it was named Heavy O-N-E, and one of his lyrics stated that you weren't born as a bitch, your mama just raised you that way. And so Delta males, and I keep harping on Delta males because Delta males are dangerous. That's why I harp on them. Everybody else, the gammas are kind of dangerous because they sell outs, but Delta males are dangerous. And so when I look at some of the things with Delta males, and when you ask me about things that are embedded, I had a friend that I was talking to, and she had said something. We was talking about areas, and she said, well, first you got to get rid of the social situation. I said, what social situation? And she said, well, slavery has been embedded in our DNA. Now, because I love her, and she's one of my best friends, I didn't say, what the fuck, you lost your mind. I decided I'd go research it because she said it. That's how much respect I got for it. She said it, I'm finna go find out. So I did look it up, and I came across the PTSS, the post-traumatic slave syndrome. Okay, that wasn't the first time I came across that shit because, that's bullshit, but I'll talk to you about that in a minute. But anyway, I also came across some aspects of the DNA that she was talking about. One aspect of it was that because we were slaves, and because we came from various tribes in Africa, and because we have a lot of European and Indian blood and everything else in us, it turns out that our DNA consists of something that's other than just strictly African. As a matter of fact, 73% of us got quite a bit of European DNA in our blood. And a lot of people like, well, we was already here, we was Indians. Only 0.8% of us have Indian blood. So, I don't know about that goofy shit, but again, that's another story. But the point that I'm trying to make is that part of it being a melting pot, so to speak, in our DNA was the actual slavery aspect. But I knew it had to be something more, again, because she said it. So I was able to find a study that indicated that post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, can be imprinted on the DNA. Similar to when a woman is pregnant and somebody says, stop stressing out, it's going to impact the baby. Actually, this shit is kind of sort of true. So, based on this particular aspect of our DNA, yes, it's possible that it's there. It's not going to affect everybody. You say, well, if it's there, why doesn't PTSS, post-traumatic slave disorder, affect everyone? Well, this imprint on the DNA has a cause and effect. In other words, it lies dormant. The only way to bring it out is for people to turn around and have them to relive what happened in slavery.